YouTube! Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, the Traveling Beard, the hostess with the mostest. You see the title in the thumbnail. You see the title. How did I come into sterile processing? How did I become a traveler? So I'm going to give you the story on how I became a traveler as well as a sterile processing technician. It all started. Now let me stop playing. But okay. So far I've been a sterile processing technician for about 17 years. Probably a little more than 17 years. With that said, I've been at a lot of special hospitals. As far as orthopedics, cardiovascular, I've been permanent position there. For example, in Long Island, I've been working at, I used to work at St. Francis Heart Hospital. So it was predominantly, the specialty there was heart. So you basically, hearts were a general instrument that you just had to know. You just knew. You just had to know if you was there. So that hospital I worked at for about 6 to 7 years. Probably I think it was six years I worked at. I also worked at a hospital for special surgery. They mostly deal with orthopedics. I worked at LIJ. They done a lot of general stuff, but they mostly did a lot of orthopedics as well. Special Albert Einstein in the Bronx I worked at. That was predominantly a trauma hospital. So we deal with a lot of trauma instruments, and from there, that's how I got a lot of my skill set and my knowledge. So now when I see instruments as far as vascular, orthopedic, I can permanently do it in my head without really like going through a count sheet, because I could kind of just, I know what belongs there and what needs to be taken apart. Needless to say, so from that, all that experience, I've been a sterile processing technician for years. Sorry about the noise, I'm kind of just chilling right now. Then from there, from being in New York, I ended up transitioning to Virginia as a permanent staff at Martha Jefferson and UVM. It's in Charlottesville. So from there, after being in Virginia, I just decided I needed to travel. Now, how did I get into traveling? It was a gentleman, God rest the dead. You know, he passed away. His name was Steph Johnson. He actually put me on to traveling. He always, I'll never forget, I came back from a vacation and he was there in the department. As he was there in the department, I was curious, like, who's the new guy and why is he sitting in my chair? You know, so me and him, just from there, we struck a friendship. He basically explained to me the traveling situation, but he never explained to me the part where he's getting housing pay, because he didn't take housing pay. What he was taking was the hourly pay and the food stipend, because he allowed the company to actually find his housing. That was the catch with him. So he never actually explained all the pot of money he could have gotten. He just always said that he preferred he said it's always best to let the company actually find his housing, because he didn't want to be responsible for paying them. He didn't be responsible for that. I mean, I understood it, but I just needed more of a clarification, because when he told me it was $15 an hour, then he showed me the food stipend. I was just like, nah, that's not enough, man. My bills is a little more than that. This doesn't even add up. And mind you, he never really told me it's a weekly pay. You know, he never explained to me a weekly pay. He just said, yeah, as a traveler. So, you know, as he left from Virginia to his next assignment, me and him stayed in contact. Then he gave me a number, and it was MedPro. So I reached out to MedPro. Then they actually explained to me the whole gist of it. They explained to me that you were able to get a housing pay, food stipend, hourly pay, bonus pay, travel reimbursement to and from the assignment, and also explained to me that you are able to negotiate the pay you want once your assignment is complete. So you won't be working for that same hourly pay again. You should be able to increase it. So once they explained that all to me, I was like, boom, I'm on it. I'm on it. So from there, I was able to become a traveler. So I pretty much worked at a lot of facilities. So that basically, him actually planting the bug in me, actually explaining it to me, he got me into it. But who got me into sterile processing? I have to give it to my mother. My mother works in the operating room, and she actually got me from there, straight from high school to there, you know. And from there, I began to gain the experience. I worked at Mercy Medical Center, right? So it was a medical center. It was a general hospital with no experience. Nobody taught me anything. In the department, I would be in a department working, and everything was hands-on experience. There at this time, nuns were popular in hospitals. Nuns wore the dresses, and you'll see them, you greet them however you greet them. So nuns at that time was popular. At that time, it was predominantly a nun hospital that they was running the hospital. So this was a teaching facility. Because they learned everything was general instruments. They didn't have an overnight shift. It wasn't a trauma hospital. They did a lot of labor and delivery, a lot of general instruments, a lot of DNCs, the basic instruments that we mostly see, plastics, things of that sort. So I would have to say my mother actually planted the seed in me to become a sterile processing technician. From there, then I went to the specialty hospitals, and then from there, I was dealing with a surgical tech. She would tell me that that being a traveler is something you should do, but she never explained. Once again, everybody was telling me things, but they wasn't explaining. Explaining things go far, it would go very far. Nobody's explaining to me how traveling is. Nobody's explaining to me the money. Nobody was explaining to me, is it a weekly pay? I was never actually getting that. So with her, she just only basically told me how, she basically said that traveling would be good. You can see the world, and you just, you will enjoy yourself. So once she told me that, I always had that in the back of my mind. She never told me a price, but that's how I became a traveler. That's how I became a traveler. It was basically seeds being planted throughout my life, from my mother putting me into the field, from the surgical tech actually telling me about it but not giving me accurate details, from my good friend as I was in Virginia, him actually explaining to me small details about it, and then actually going to a company, and the company actually tells me, they broke it down to me even more as far as how the money is structured. So once they broke down the structure, listen, you ain't got to tell me too much. Once you give me the format of how things run, I'm gone. So that's how I became the traveling beard. Traveled to many states, worked at a lot of facilities. I'm just basically here on YouTube to tell you guys, you don't have to go to school for this. You don't have to. But if you feel you would need to, I think you should. But it's not a must. A lot of hospitals will let you join. Go to teaching facilities, they will teach you hands-on skills. It's a skill that you can try. Literally, when I say travel the world, I've been pretty much all over. And not only me, people that I know I've trained. I've trained people, and they've been able to travel literally the world with doing this. People, so I mean, it's a skill set that is really, it's a unique skill set. So I think anybody should just join it, because listen, you can't beat a skill set like this. But for the most part, that's what I want to tell you guys on how to actually get into the field. How I got into the field as a traveler. Take it or leave it. But yeah, get your skill set, travel the world. I mean, listen, traveling isn't for everybody. I always land back to this, saying this to you guys. Traveling isn't for everybody. And I know somebody in the comment section, they would say they would prefer not to be a traveler. But the way the world is going, you will have to be a traveler. But yeah, that's all. Just want to give you guys a story of how I became a traveler and how I got into sterile processing. If you are a traveler or a permanent person, give somebody some inspiration. Let them know in the comment section below how you became a traveler. Let them know the small journey you got into it. I think it's good as a community to help each other, to give everybody some inspiration on how to become a traveler. Because for myself, school wasn't a thing. This school thing is very popular now, because somebody always wants to make money off of somebody trying to learn, and it's sad to say that Isham, I kind of wish Isham could be more hands-on with helping people to get into positions better, but they are, Isham is more so they just want to override a lot of things as far as certification. But needless to say, anybody, if you are certified or not certified, if you're a permanent person, a per diem person, if you're a traveler, not a traveler, in the description box and in the comment section, just let people know your journey. I think it's really cool for people to explain their journey. And I honestly have to do. I'm thinking about changing a format. I kind of want to start interviewing, like having a conversation with travelers and permanent people, just permanent employees, just to get a gist on how they got into the field, what's their current goals, what state they're at, what the pros and cons about things. I think this will be a good conversation. I think I'm gonna call it Talks with the Beard. So look out for that. I'm working on it. I got some people in mind. But I'm out, guys. This video is too long. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know in the comment section how you feel. Peace.